Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. If you're my patron subscribers, welcome. So today we're going to be talking about and discussing everything that we need to talk about in regard to Uranus entering Gemini starting tomorrow. Today, as of when I'm recording this specific video, it's being recorded on Sunday, July 6th at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as of when I'm recording this specific video. This is the first time that I have done a live, specifically here on YouTube, for about, I think, 2 or 3 years. So we're going to delve right into this. We have a lot to get through in today's video, but I figured there's no better way to make a great comeback, especially back here in the studio, than recording live. So if you guys want to interact with me, you can. You can do that in the comment section below if that interests you. But again, I'm not going to waste your time. We have a lot to get through today's video. If you want to help out this channel, where you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the overall content, and just hitting the thumbs up button really help boost the channel's algorithm over time. All right, so this video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. So we have a lot to get through today, so I'm not going to waste your time. Like I said, let's just get in on it. Okay, so Spirit Angels, tell me, what is it that we need to talk about in regard to July 7th when Uranus enters Gemini? Now, this is going to be a very important thing because once Uranus enters Gemini starting tomorrow, there's going to be a situation where the main theme over the next month or so about the end of July, which is happening now, which is going to be kind of the beginning towards the end of July, and August is going to tell us what is going to be the major theme that we can expect over the next 8 years. What can we expect by the year 2033? What is the United States going to look like? And there's no better way to get a quick preview than to look at when Uranus enters Gemini, how that's going to be perceived. So in today's video, we're going to take a quick deep dive in. We're going to find out what are the major themes that we need to talk about in today's video. If Harris does come in, I will let you know, but I cannot guarantee that I'm not going to force it if she does not come in. But let's go ahead. Let's just see what happens. All right, so Spirit Angels, tell me. Spirit Angels, tell me about this. Tell me about Uranus entering Gemini. What do we need to expect tomorrow, July 7th, 2025? What can we expect to happen? Now, these are the energies. These are the overall energies, right? Let's see. There's going to be criticism of a woman in particular. There's a lot of criticism of feminine energy here. Someone is criticizing whether it's a collective of women in general or whether it's just a specific woman in particular. It's kind of hard to discern because it represents almost like, it almost feels like it's an insult to a group of people, if you will. But there's going to be someone's going to get insulted, and it has to do with the feminine side of things. So it has to do in regards to women, but it's not necessarily pointing towards white women. It's really more so pointing towards Black women in particular. So there is some sort of insult that's going to be thrown around. The question is how is this going to be insulted? Is somebody going to get insulted by the means of them being judged for who and what they are? Or is it rather more than not, it's rooted in racism and it's just what's coming now? So that's what we're going to take a look in. I know somebody have actually asked here on YouTube, what's going to happen to us? Well, honestly, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough, not only for you, but also for everybody. And I think it's going to be, if it comes into the reading, I'm going to let you know. So we do have here for the Magician card. The Magician card is reversed. The reason for this being in reverse, when you think about it from a different perspective, the Magician in reverse here indicates not with good intention. It's just somebody who wants to manifest something that is not a good intent. This is not somebody of high power, if you will. But again, we're talking about the energy here of criticizing a feminine movement or criticizing a particular woman or a group of women, but typically those of other races than white, right? That's what it feels very much like. The reason why I'm being generic here is because it's not one specific individual. It's not one group or demographic. It's someone who is of a darker tone, if you will, right? And it's very hard to discern that because I'm also seeing Asian as well. So it's hard to classify something into one group or one category. Now, we do also have here, hello, Dennis, how are you? We do also have here, we have the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is very interesting. The Knight of Swords is coming in as reverse as well, which means that this is not somebody who's coming in hot and heavy. This is somebody who's pre-planned. So whoever is doing the judgment, whoever is making these calls, whoever is doing this type of offenses against certain groups, demographics, is somebody who premeditated. There's a premeditation here. We also do have here as well, we do have the King of Pentacles reversed. This is not what the corporation intends. So this is not the intent to make money off of these people. The intent is a little bit more sinister. So we know the motive already is not with money, but there is an intention here to essentially alienate a certain group of the population, alienate a certain demographic of people in the United States. But this also could be globally as well, because when Uranus enters Gemini, it's not only going to affect the people in the United States, it's also going to affect globally. Hello, Daman. I hope I do pronounce that name. I have a feeling I did not. I'm pretty good. How are you? I'm actually hot back here, but there's that. We do have here, when we start to go into more of the specific reading, what is clarifying these three cards, we have the Queen of Wands reversed. And the Queen of Wands reversed is a very interesting card. The reason for it being interesting, the fact that it's reversed, is that it's talking about here is not with spiritual intent. So this is telling me here, this is not someone of spiritual intention. So this has nothing to do with religion. But if it does, it's going to do with the fact that they are using religion in a means to put down a large group of people, or to put down a very specific person in particular. But they're going to use the means of religion to do it if they were to do it. But if they were not to do it, then it would not be with the intention of religion. Now, the reason why I say this is a little bit confusing, even if it's confusing to me as I'm saying it to you. But what I'm getting told here is that they're saying essentially that these people who preach these type of religion are not actually worshiping the religion in which they preach. So therefore, how could they in some way or some form preach it when they cannot even do it on their own behalf? Like, be kind to one another, but then you see them being cruel to somebody else. That is what this is talking about here. It's talking about here, there's criticism within it all, and that's why it's driving here. So if there was to be anything coming from a religious perspective, there could be somebody of high religious faith, or to say, for example, you do something against a certain demographic and say, well, that's just because of my religion. This is because of my belief. And they justify the religion for the hatred or the action. Hello, James. Hello, Desmond. I believe in faith. Yes, I know what you believe in, but I'm glad you believe in faith. We do also have here as well, we have, when you start to look at the next card here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8 of Wands here. The 8 of Wands is coming down hot and heavy, and it's going down in the rightward position, which is this side always represents the future, and this always represents the past tense. But this card is coming down pretty hot and heavy, which means that sometime in the future, people are going to be justifying their action through the means of religion, or through the means of spiritual presence, if you will. But just know that that should not ever break your spirit, because remember, these spirits do not support us in any way. And they're even saying in this reading that these are what these people are doing, but they're not working in the faith in what they represent. So again, just keep that in mind. We do also have here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 of Cups reversed. The 7 of Cups reversed is a very interesting card. The reason why this card is really particularly interesting is the fact that it falls under the idea and the coalescing of the energy here, talking about Black women and also Asian women. For some reason, that is the demographic they're talking about. But it's also talking about people who were just say look Asian, but they're really not Asian. So, for example, the best description I could provide would be a Latino person who has more of an Asian eye, but the complexity of a darker tone person. And that's kind of like what it feels like. It feels like in some way there is this polarity that's being formulated, where it's going to be white people versus people of other tones, if you will. And the best way I can describe this, and I have said this many times too on YouTube, is that there is going to come a rise of white supremacy, but white supremacy is going to be modernized in a new formality. And the way that's going to work is going to work in a very particular way. There's going to be a separation of people. So there's going to be a separation of white Asian or white lighter tone Asian versus darker complexion Asian. And it's going to continue onward with every demographic and every group. There's going to be a mere separation, because everybody wants to be in the popular group. But sometimes just because the masses want to be a part of it doesn't mean you should too. Because it's not always with the good intention. And that's what it feels like. It feels like there's that clear separation that's happening now as it starts to kick in. There's a clear separation of people from all different divides. So, for example, the best way I could say this is that somebody who is on the other side, who might be of a lighter complexion, may be more likely to vote Republican than somebody of a darker complexion, where they're more likely to vote Democrat. And that's kind of like what I'm seeing here. Not only is it a political divide, but now this is also the divide of the physical mind, and how humanity is being divided through the lines of not only through spiritual conquest, which will be justifying your actions or your hatred or your action through the form of religion or the form of spiritual conquest to justify what you're doing, but also as well, it also tells us that they're going to be dividing people along racial lines and based on the color and skin of the tone. So there's that. Hi, Self Sully. Being aware of June 21st, is this right? Because I think that's when they bombed Iran. I'm sure it was you, wasn't? I'm gonna be honest with you. When I do my readings, right after they finish it, I don't remember anything. So I'm gonna say no. But if it was me, maybe. But I really don't remember at all. Like I had like zero memory. Another site is said to be aware of July 7th. Maybe that's coming up. Yeah, July 7th, believe it or not, is tomorrow. I'm recording this on July 6th at 9:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when I'm recording this. All right, so those are the things to be looking towards right now, particularly for women and people of different complexion and different tone colors. Definitely keep an eye on demographics shifting and dividing along the racial lines. So definitely keeping that mind of that, but also in particularly for women as well. There is going to be some sort of criticism towards the feminine movement, particularly either one specific individual or a group of people. I don't really know how that's going to work, but it's going to offend a lot of people. If it's one person, it's going to offend a whole group of people because they're targeting one individual woman, where it could be also be a man because the man could represent feminine energy. So you'll kind of know based on who that is. So if it's a gay man or if it's a bisexual man or something like along those lines, you'll know. But there is going to be some sort of criticism on somebody who is of a feminine energy or someone of the more feminine energy. I keep saying the same thing, and I'm a little nervous because it's my first time back live, but I'm very well formed on how to do this, so it's not an issue. All right, so let me just clear out this card for a minute, and then we're gonna continue going forward. How is my audio? Because it feels weird not having my microphone on me anymore. I feel naked. Clear out this card, your any negative energy, any questions, please ask. This card cleared. All right, we're good. Okay, so let's see what other themes are coming up during the month of just starting tomorrow, July 7th, onwards for the next 8 years. What are the major themes to look towards? What are the major themes that we're going to be overseeing with this next month? So this month and to August, what are the major themes that's going to be foretelling what's going to be happening over the next 8 years? That's why I kind of being a little bit vague with the energy a little bit. As you all know, I love detail. I really love detail. But I also have to remember as well that this detail, you also have to understand that it's going to be 8 years long, right? There's different things that may come up, but it represents that same idea. I'm glad you guys like the audio. Yeah, I love the studio. I'm glad to be back here after the flood and everything. It's great to be back. All right, so let's continue. All right, so spiritual angels coming. Tell me what are the major themes that we need to look towards, especially when Uranus enters Gemini starting tomorrow? What are some major things that's happening in the United States? What are some major themes? I'm hearing war. Hello, Kathy. Happy to see you. I'm getting chills. There's an energy here of war. We have a page of cups here, wishful thinking. A leader emerges, but he's wishful thinking. He emerges too soon. Someone emerges too soon. And the economy doesn't go well. Yeah. And here with the three of swords reversed, the three of wands reversed. No indication of a particular. Oh, here it is. Here's the Constitution. So the Constitution's at the bottom of the deck here. What's behind the Constitution? It's going forward. What's the new pathway forward? The United States Constitution has been rendered a null and a void. Right? So again, this is the Constitution. The High Priestess, the Constitution has been rendered null and a void. We have here on the top of the deck here is we have the Nine of Swords reverse. The Nine of Swords reverse means it's not necessarily an upset moment for those specific people in power, and particularly men. This has to do with the Queen of Pentacles. This is those of the feminine. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, I'm a man, and I feel very concerned about what's going on. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you have voted a very specific way, I've said many times before the 2020 election, I said based on how you voted in 2024, it was going to be predetermined of how you were going to be divided along the line. So if you voted for Harris, you voted more for the feminine energy. That is where your energy is. Your energy is more on the feminine side. Whereas if you voted for more Trump, your energy is more so on the right side. So you're more on the masculine end. And that is how this is being weathered, if you will. So the thing that we just talked about as well, I talked about how a large group of people were going to be offended, and there could possibly be an attack on a specific individual, especially somebody of color. And now that I think about it, now I said that she was going to be, I said a Black individual who had Asian background or Asian background. Now I start to think about it, it sounds a little bit more like Kamala Harris, if you start to really piece the two together. And I said that it was almost like an attack on one individual, but then it offends a whole group of people as well. So it could be that as well. Now, that is my own interpretation and based on what I got, but that doesn't mean that's what Spirit told me. I just want to make sure that's aware to you guys that that is not what Spirit told me. Spirit told me those details, but I'm just making inferences on what I think it could possibly mean. But I don't want you to take away and be like, oh, well, he said this. No, Spirit did not say that. That's what I'm saying. Right? So let's go back into the reading. I turned the light off because I feel like there was too much light here. So going back into the reading now, we have the King of Swords. And the King of Swords in particular is a very interesting card because it represents the incumbent individual in charge. I want to ask you guys, just to deviate for 1 second. Can you hear the dog in the background? Anyway, we have the King of Swords, and the King of Swords is upright. This is the person in position of power now. Now, this not only means globally, but we're talking about a little bit more specifically in the United States. So what is going on in the United States when Uranus enters Gemini starting tomorrow? What is going to happen? What are the major themes? So this is the King of Swords. This has to do with somebody in position of power right now. This has to do with Donald Trump. What's the next card that comes in? It's the Seven of Wands reverse. The Seven of Wands reverse is a very interesting card. The fact that it's reversed, which means it's the path of least resistance, which means that when Uranus enters Gemini, the Gemini individual, which is represented here as Donald Trump, is going to have a pretty good time, if you will. Okay, so you guys can hear my dog. I put something up at the cloth to try to block the noise. Doesn't seem to be working, but I do apologize in advance. Thank you, by the way. So we do have here, Donald Trump is going to have a pretty good time, especially when Gemini enters Uranus. Uranus enters Gemini, my bad. Because the reason for this is because he leads to the destruction of the United States. Remember, Donald Trump, I have always said this before, represents everything that's negative of every president that came before him. He is going to embody and embolden all the bad things of every president. Because in order to finish the United States, the best way to really know what is Donald Trump going to do, this does not take a second to know this. Just look at history. Read history. Because in a way, history is just repeating. We've been here before. We've done this before. The only difference is the United States had never reached the point of no return. Tomorrow marks the point of no return for the United States. Remember, the Supreme Court had just rendered the Constitution null and void. They literally just said the Supreme Court had, or any justices, the judicial branch had no connection or no control or any sort of ability to restrict the power of the executive branch. Now, the way it works in essence is that the executive branch is at the top here, right? This is the executive branch. And the executive branch oversees and is the main leader. It's the brain, right? It's the brain part. Then here on the right side here is the Congress, which would be represented through the legislative branch, which would be the Senate and the House of Representatives. With that being here it clearly indicates to us this represents the heart and the soul of the country. Now, on the left side, and this is the nervous system, what's it, the judicial branch. And the judicial branch is right here. And the judicial branch makes sure everything is free and flowing, makes sure everything is abiding by the brain of the heart, the rule of the body, the rule of the connection of everything. And in the center, it's the spirit or the soul of humanity, the soul of the collective within that state of the country. Right? That would be the American people. Now, when you start to look at that, you have an executive branch who's trying to seize as much power and control as possible. Then you have a legislative branch, which would be the heart, which is unable to act correctly, which is basically, in essence, it causing itself to have a heart attack, right? It's essentially having blockages. It's a heart attack, right? Then you go into the brain, which would be, not the brain. You go into the nervous system, which is the judicial branch, which is the thing that checks and balances the executive branch to make sure they don't overstep their power and make sure that they lay down the law of the Constitution. Well, because essentially the Constitution has been rendered null and void, and that they stripped the power of the judicial branch entirely from the Supreme Court stand, which represents the nervous system, because the heart is no longer functioning correctly and it had a heart attack. Now the judicial branch is now unable to send out the blood or the necessary messages to its nervous system. And because of that, not only because these two bodies failed, eventually what happened? The brain is the last thing to die, right? So the heart goes first, then it's the nervous system, and the last thing to die will be the brain. That would be the executive branch. The soul of the country can never die. It can just move forward and rebirth into a new form. But the brain is the next target, and that is what's going to be collected. Now, going back into this reading here, we have failed at this 4 times before. This is our chance to get this right. Yeah. Well, we're not going to, unfortunately. We're going to, I said this before in 2020, that the United States is going to be remodeled and it's going to be reformulated. So the best way for us to go through this will actually go through fascism and out and become more democratic. We actually become more of a democracy. So there is a bright side to this. This is a period of darkness in the United States, but there's a light at the tunnel. So anyway, going back into the reading. I feel like I talk so much. I do apologize. I actually talk so much. I don't really remember where this came from. Yeah, I guess maybe they're here. Okay, so anyway, going back into the reading here, we have the King of Swords, means the position or the president or the individual in power, which will be represented as the United States president. This is Donald Trump. Right? We have here that he's going to have a very good time when when Uranus enters Gemini tomorrow. We have here he's going to have the path of least resistance. And the reason for this is that he leads to the destruction of the United States, which is represented through the Tower card, right? This is the ending of the United States. This is the period of no return. The next card that comes in is we have the Strength card. And the Strength card is very interesting. The reason for the Strength card being here, it talks about war. In some way, it talks about war. Now, this normally means peace through strength. But that's not what is really indicated here. This is maybe what the United States portrayed itself to be, but the United States has always been at war. Right? The United States is going back into its wartime behavior. The next card that follows underneath it is the Moon card. The Moon card is reversed. There's something here that is coming to the surface. Something that has been long dormant is now emerging. I'm hearing the word specifically bubble. Something is bubbling to the surface like a witch's cauldron. And underneath that card here as well as we have the 10 of Wands reversed. And the 10 of Wands reversed is a very interesting card. The reason why the 10 of Wands reversed is a very interesting card, at least particularly for me, when it's added into this reading, again, it indicates the lack of struggle for the President of the United States. It's a lack of struggle. He can do whatever he wants. And so this period of Uranus entering Gemini is going to showcase essentially the strength of the presidency and how much somebody's going to using it across the line. How far can they get? That's essentially what Uranus and Gemini is going to do in the United States. And the next card is we have wishful thinking. Now, wishful thinking, this is all, as you all know, this is my Page of Wands. And it's being challenged by the Page of Cups. Now, this is the card that represents wishful thinking. This is the card that represents a new leader, a new person, somebody who's hopeful, someone who's looking to a future, someone who's looking to sow the next branch on the tree, to showcase to the country that they can lead, that they can do something efficiently. And then here you have it, the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups comes in as wishful thinking. And the words that I'm hearing right now, no, you cannot. So it's saying in a way that if there's a time for a new leader to reemerge during this period of this term, no. Likely no. Not until the duration of this, the brain, it gets choked out by the clogged artery, and which is the legislative branch, that was killed and was unable to essentially transfer all the messages from the judicial branch, which would be the brain or the nervous system, to the brain, which would be the executive branch. And that's essentially what it's saying here. It's saying that no, you cannot. So I'm also getting information here as well. If there was an attempt by a vice president to assume the role of presidency, it's not going to work. It's going to fail dramatically, and it's pretty substantially. It's going to fail. Now, if this in some way has to do with Harris, very unlikely at this point. During this time period, it's very unstable, very uneven. It's going to be very rocky, if you will. It's going to have to take a collapse of the brain in order to possibly put her into a position of power. But as of now, for her safety, the best thing for her to do is to just not assume the role of the presidency yet. You have to wait till the presidency falls, the brain collapses. Do not enter in when the brain is at its highest peak, when it is drunk on power. Now remember, when somebody has a heart attack, right, and there's a clogged artery, you only have so much time until you start to pass out. You start to faint. You start to go through post-mortem and all those other things. I don't really know much about that in that regard, but that's essentially what would happen if you weren't saved by the ambulance or somebody didn't call in 911. The next part is not only you just had a heart attack, now you go into the nervous system, which is the judicial branch, and then now you go into the brain. Now, once the brain is starting to die and starts to fog up, your brain only has about 8 minutes of activity until the brain activity is now declared dead and you're a vegetable. That is essentially why, during this period of time, why the executive branch is able to do whatever it wants, because it's dying. The body, the soul, the physical body is already dead. America had a heart attack in this legislative branch. The message is no longer being delivered by the judicial branch. Now, the executive branch is the only thing that's functioning. And once that has died, because the two functions of the government is no longer operating, this here will become foggy. And once it becomes foggy, it disappears and it dies. So we're at the end of the United States. We're at the end of the presidency. There is going to be a new form of government. There will be. The question is, what formality? Are we going to choose to stay with authoritarianism, or are we going to choose democracy? That is the question that's on a lot of people's mind, including mine. But it has always indicated democracy. We do also have here, as well as we have the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles means things are piling up, right? But they're not even being shown. They're not even being indicated. People are not looking at what's being piled up. But something's being piled up here, if you get what I mean. And then here you have this is my election night card. This is the Three of Wands here. The Three of Wands reverse. This is the watching the election night, watching the election unfold, right? This also indicates watching the destruction of the country while you are helpless on a hill, just watching it all go down. But it's reverse. It's reverse because it indicates a couple of different factors. Because we're talking about themes when Uranus enters Gemini, starting tomorrow. What are the major themes over the next 8 years? There could be a possibility that this could be indicating there might not be another election. At least there might not be a midterm election. This could also indicate as well, look towards what's happening in Florida where they canceled an election. Is that what's going to be happening nationally? Is that what's going to be happening? But this card also indicates as well is that we won't be able to oversee everything that's happening. We won't know what somebody's happening to somebody else because we won't have a connection to that. We won't get told what's happening. All we will get told is that our neighbors, our brothers or sisters will tell us what's going on, what's going on in their state, what's happening in that region. But to them, it feels like just hearsay. There's no legitimate proof, and that's essentially how it's going to be done. Is that to say like, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Essentially gaslighting people into believing that they cannot trust their own family members or friends just because they were not physically there to see it and witness it. There's no physical proof for them to see it because they can't access the information online. So also understand as well, I'm also getting information that there would be a suppression of information. So that could be what this could be indicating, that there's a suppression of information to the point where you start to question whether or not something you're hearing from somebody else is legit or not. And that's going to be very difficult to tell because that is also could be indicated through AI. The AI could be this friend that spirit could be talking about as well. So, yeah, that's what I'm getting. Is there anything else? No. Okay, so that is what I'm getting for some of the major themes in the United States over the next 8 years. Let's take a look at the globe, and then we're going to finish off the reading with what is happening to the midterms. If they're going to be a midterm. Now, in the past, I have said I saw a Republican victory in the House of Representatives. I'm not so sure what I said about the Senate. I do know I did say that the Republicans were likely to win the midterms. As of now, we're going to see if that changed or not. All right, so let's go ahead, Spirit Angels. Tell me about. Okay, hold on. Tell me about what am I asking? Oh, yeah. Tell me about the United. No, tell me about the global. What's happening globally when Gemini enters? When Uranus enters Gemini tomorrow? What's happening worldwide? Is it going to tell us a little bit more information about what is also happening in the United States? Remember, I said about war. I'm feeling the word money, man. Oh my God. Okay, here we have the two pentacles reversed. This is telling me definitely. So this is with certainty. This is telling me here this is certainty. These are the two pentacles reversed. What is certain? Election night. So something is happening that's certain. Now remember, we talked about before about what was going on, if there was going to be some sort of criticism of women or a collective of people, specifically of the feminine energy. We kept talking about that, and then I said that how it could be related to Harris in some way. Well, when Adam's trying to read the energy here, but in that question was what is going on globally, for some reason she comes in as well. She comes in as well. What do you mean, James? I don't know what that means. Also she comes in as well. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna go find the other tarot deck to help clarify this information. They're telling me to use this deck. This is the American Eclipse deck. So we're going to use that deck right now. I do apologize for my dog who's barking. We honestly thought that this thing being here, she will stop barking. She is not. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to find another solution for this, but this will do for now. All right, so I'm gonna ask the same question I just asked before, but I'm gonna mute myself so you don't have to hear my dog. Okay, it's exactly what I thought it was. It's exactly what I thought it was. Remember how I said I heard the word money man? Guys, who comes up? Elon Musk. Yeah, something going on globally that's also coming in again as Uranus entering Gemini. There's a bottom of that here we have the Temperance card. And the Temperance card being reversed here indicates the angel being tied up, right? But this is somebody who is greedy. This is somebody who's walking away from something, walking away with fortune, thinking that they got away with it. You know how this is a man who had the money, he's pouring something into his cup. There's a great wealth, great fortune. Then you have this female angel in the background being tied up. But it's reversed. This is what he thought he was getting away with. This is what he thought. The top of the deck here, it would be a fire. Fire. This means passion. This means disruption. This means movement, anger. This is very passionate energy here. This is very passionate energy. And remember, this is global energy. But somehow, again, when we talk about global energy, it's also talking about the energy in the United States at the same time. Very bizarre, if you ask me. Very bizarre. Now, let's go into the reading. What is the top of the deck here? We have the Magician card. Someone is creating something that they desire. Creation. Right here, we have what they're creating, trying to smooth the waters among the chaos, to get the male in position of power among the midst of chaos. This is the election. This is the election. This is manifesting something and manifesting a male in position of power among chaos. Now, why you ask yourself, well, what does this have to do with anything? Well, the male who's sitting down in the chair, I've always told you guys this many times, indicates somebody who's in a position of power. Whatever card shows that when somebody's sitting upright in an upright position means that they are in position of power, they are in control, that they won. This is what the Magician card is saying, manifesting that. What is on the bottom of the deck? We have here with certainty. With certainty, and you have here election night. You can't make this up. This is live. I can't do anything with this. This is literally live. Now, the next card that comes in when you start to add more information, we have the Page of Wands. This is the new leader, new position, new world. This is the New World Order, if you will. This is the New World Order that was being set and planned back in 2016, now coming into fruition in 2025. It's being crossed by the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups means ideology. Different people from different backgrounds, different groups. This is talking about, I'm seeing G7. I don't know if G7 still exists or not, but I'm seeing G7 or a group of countries coming together. And there is this world collaboration that's going on here. There's a world collaboration. And you have here, I talked about the money man. The money man is represented the King of Pentacles. Now, this could be indicated of two things. This is normally a card that indicates Donald Trump, specifically Trump as president. This is represented as the King of Pentacles. But it's also something else as well. It's not only is it talking about the King of Pentacles, it's also indicating to all of us that it could also be indicating as well as a rich country, a rich nation, a rich individual. But more than not, it also has to do with Trump. Now, remember, we talked about before, manifesting an individual, a male among the midst of chaos, manifesting it on election night, and you have here a new leader to usher in a new idea that was set in 2016, and here you have the money man, which would be Trump. The fact that why is this coming in again? Uranus entering Gemini, there has to be some underlying tone. Why is this coming in when I talk about global, right? So that means that this has not only significance here in the United States, but also significance abroad. There's a reason why this is also coming in as well. It means that this energy is strong. You have here the next card that comes in is the King of Swords. And the King of Swords means the incumbent. The incumbent. And who is the incumbent? Who is challenging this incumbent? You have here the King of Coins. This is Elon Musk. Now, as you all may have remembered, I'm not sure if you've been with me for quite a while, but if you have been, especially since March, I spoke about how Elon Musk and Donald Trump are going to get into a fight, and it's going to be over a big economic bill. And I will put the link to that video in the description below if you want to go ahead and watch it. But I said that they were going to go into a fight and that they were going to start arguing, and whoever Elon Musk is on is going to decide how things go. Well, Elon Musk left the White House. He decided to try to get the House of Representatives on his side. As of now, the big beautiful bill passed the House and the Senate and went back to the House and was passed. There's a new representative in the House of Representatives as of now. I was alerted not too long ago before this video that they are trying to pass an amendment to put the original version of the big beautiful bill as the new law, despite the Senate actually never passing that law to begin with. So again, there's going to be this conflict here of it's a big beautiful bill still passed. That is still within legal terminology. Whether or not it's going to move forward, that is something that we're going to find out. But the fact that this money man is here and he's coming in a past position, which is why he's facing this way, Elon Musk is facing this way, which means he's in the past. But he challenges the incumbent. He challenges the money man and the incumbent. So now we know that this new leader is Donald Trump, and Elon Musk is challenging Donald Trump. He's challenging Donald Trump's reign, his power, right? The guy who put him in is now the one who's challenging the person he put in. Sometimes you make bad investments, especially on a con artist, you're going to get a bad investment, right? The next card is, once I knew that this had to do with Elon Musk energy, we have the Ten of Cups, and the Ten of Cups reversed. The Ten of Cups indicates this is my election night card. This is my election card. It's reversed. This is democracy. Challenging Trump as the incumbent through democracy, but not in the democratic formality. There's going to be something here that's going to be undemocratic. Something that was undemocratic, whether that was done in the past or something that was done already or something that's coming in the future. We don't know necessarily the context in what this card is representing, but it does represent doing something through the form of democracy, but also it comes off as undemocratic as well. Now, for the clarifiers cards here as well, when we start to look at the clarifiers, we have the Ten of Wands reversed. The Ten of Wands reversed means the path of least struggle, the path of least resistance, right? But we have here wishful thinking. Wishful thinking, the path of least resistance for wishful thinker, and it is the male. This will be the female. This will be the female. This will be Harris. If this was indicating Harris, it would be upright. It's reversed. Wishful thinking for the male, that you will get away with it possibly. But wishful thinking for things that you will have face the path of least resistance. Wishful thinking for assuming that, right? Now, when we start to ask for clarifiers here, well, what could these cards mean? The next, can you draw a card for me so I know if I'm on the right track and my healing all good if you can? Specifically, I can't do that only because it's a political video, but I can just do an overall collective video if that's something you want. Like I can do a collective energy reading at the end of the live if that's something that's up your alley. We do have the strength card here. The strength card is indicating to me that there is movement here. There is strength. That, remember, we talked about here the path of least resistance, right? He thought he was going to get the path of least resistance. At least he thought so. But there is strength in the opposition. There is strength in that opposition. Makes sense, right? The next card is, what is wishful thinking? Who was doing the wishful thinking here? Well, the next card is, we have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups, the bird, is people in position of power, the oligarchy, the people who run the show. But it's reverse. That's not true. It's not the people in charge. Corporations are not in charge as much as you think they are. There's someone else behind the scenes that is. The question is who? I don't know. We want to find him out, but I don't know who he is. And here you have if you remember how I said the male, how the Queen of Wands reversed represented somebody who was doing the wishful thinking. The man who thought he was going to have the path of least opposition. Let me show you a little bit. The path of least opposition with the Page of Cups and the Eight of Cups here. The Eight of Cups reversed, which means that somebody else is in charge, but wishful thinking. This could be the investor. Maybe the investors are pulling out. Maybe they're dissatisfied with the way the country's going. Then you have the Queen of Wands reversed. And the Queen of Wands reversed is also reversed. The reason for it being reversed is very particular. It's being reversed for one reason only. That he thought he was going to have the path of least resistance, and he thought he did. But here you have the Emperor. He has his throne. He's tweeting, and you see the flag being destroyed, and you have the throne, or like the I guess the stick or the flag in the background. But it's dirty. It's over. He just tweeting. It's over. It's over for him. It's coming toward a clear end. And what is the card that clarified this? Remember, it's interesting how we had the Eight of Cups reversed before. We had the Eight of Cups reversed, wishful thinking. What was wishful thinking? Well, you have here, how many people is here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 people in this picture. That's reverse. We have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people. There could be 7 people. It could be Donald Trump and the other guy who has said who's also in control. Someone else is in control as well. And here you have the 7 of Cups. And you see here someone pointing at another person, accusing each other, and you have blood stains or like water, whatever, in the table. This is in the past, which means that this already happened. This had already occurred. There is a break that's coming. We're heading towards the end. Remember, this guy had no interest in running the country. The country will be run down into the ground. Yes, absolutely. But remember what I said. He has 8 minutes. 8 minutes. He represents the brain of a dying body, right? The heart, the Congress, the legislative branch, which is the House and the Senate, already had a heart attack. It's no longer functioning. It's been blocked. It has been clogged via heart attack. Then you have here, you have the judicial branch represent the nervous system, unable to direct the messages of the brain. And because of that, now it's just the executive branch. They have a no functioning body that's beating the blood circulation around the human body, but also the nervous system is also not directing the messages. And because of that, the body is now declared dead, and the executive branch is about to run out of oxygen. But when the human body dies, it has an additional 8 minutes of replay in its brain. As the brain dies, it plays back all its memories. And that is essentially, in hindsight, what Pluto return is. Pluto return plays everything in the United States, what happened from now until all the way backwards. Remember, I said Donald Trump, it does not take a psychic to know this, it takes a historian to know this. If you know about history, Donald Trump would repeat everything that happened in history. Concentration camp is one enough. Again, like I said, you don't have to be a psychic to do this. You just have to know the pattern. You have to know the energy. You have to be able to read and be able to separate yourself from the energy you're getting. And with that, you're able to see clearly without bias. You'll be able to see clearly without emotion influence. Now, I do want to quickly touch upon the midterm. I did say that there's a possibility of it not happening. I do want to verify that with Spirit. And then we'll do a collective reading and we'll end off today's video. I do know I do want to do a live for you guys because I haven't really been able to interact with you guys at all. So this was very important for me to be able to get online with you and just sit here and talk with you and just communicate with you. Although it wasn't really global, especially in the world, the United States came in as something that has been affecting not only here at home, but also affecting the world around us. That people's lives are also being affected by the inauguration of Donald Trump and everything that happened from that point on. So the United States is, in a way, affecting everybody's life, whether we want to admit that or not. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the midterm, and then we'll do a collective mini reading, and that's it. All right, so spiritual angels, tell me about the 2026 midterms. Tell me about the 2026 midterms. Okay. So then the first card is we have the reverse. What is going on in the midterms? We have the star card. This is the presidency. This is the election, right? This is the midterm, right? These are people being sworn in. These are people coming into position of power. These are Congress. This is the Senate, right? Remember I said the Senate and the Congress already had a heart attack. This is the star card reverse. Can it be revived, right? Remember, we still have the shocker. Can the United States be revived? That's the question that's on everybody's mind. We have the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups reverse is ignorance, inability to see things clearly. This is people that's happening. The people being sworn in and something being ignored. This could possibly mean two multiple things. It could mean and indicate to all of us. Okay, so we have the star card here. The midterm happened. The midterm, went in. We had the midterm. Then we have here ignoring the result, ignoring what happened. Saying, nah, we don't accept the result. We don't accept the outcome of this election. Could be something like that. There could also be that this card can indicate this is something that's undemocratic. Is it coming from the presidency as well? And they could say, now we already have too many elections. I think the American people need a break. Right? He could also cancel the election. These are two very drastic different interpretations. Both of them could also occur. It's not without the realm of possibility. We also do have here as well, we have the Five Pentacles. The Five Pentacles is not walking away. Well, what are you not walking away from? Well, you're not walking away from what could be happening, what could be taking place, justice. It's the hope, it's the spirit. This is telling me here that the people are still not willing to walk away. So just say he canceled the election, right? Just say by happenstance that was the route that we end up on. Well, in this case, the justice card being reversed indicates and tell all of us, okay, so just say you cancel the election, right? The justice card is the people still have the spirit that they still feel like they can do something. This is the fighting spirit. This is the tiger in a lot of people. They feel like they can still do something, right? But just say that this is not the case. We could say, okay, so for example, the midterm does go through. This is the star card reverse, right? The star card reverse is something that is democratic but undemocratic. Something happened that is kind of undemocratic. We have here something being refused. Something being refused, not accepting the result. Maybe it could be the American people refusing what Trump has been giving them. The spoonful of medicine, if you will, like cough medicine. We all don't like to swallow cough medicine. I'm sure a lot of us don't. If you do, then maybe you might need to check up. But we do have here, we have the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is, again, indicating to all of us that there could be also a repudiation by the American people on Donald Trump. Again, that could be what it could be indicating as well. As we get closer and I'm able to, the best way I can really say it is the best way that I can be able to understand what is happening in the midterm is to try to consolidate the energy. Right now, the energy is kind of chaotic. It's like multiple balls going in multiple different directions. It's like when you play ping pong and you keep hitting the ball and the ball just going everywhere. You kind of can't focus. That's kind of like what the midterm energy feels like. Once it starts to stabilize, I'll be able to get a better picture. But as of right now, I'm giving you the most likely possibility and plausibility at the moment with the current energies at play. Going back into the reading, though, we also have here, we have the Five Pentacles. The Five Pentacles is not walking away from something, but having some sort of hope. And the hope is that you feel like in some way you can also do justice. But I'm also getting here as well, this could also be a rejection of those people in position of power. So let's say, for example, the American people, they choose and elect more Democrat than Republican. It could be refused, and they could try to install a Republican or Republican congressmen and senators in as those true replacement, if you will. I mean, I said that there could be energy here of undemocratic energies here. Like something could be very undemocratic about the midterms. There's many ways that this can be played out. This could be played out through canceling midterm. This could be played out through canceling the result or rejecting the result. There's many ways that this could play out, right? We do have here as well as we have the seven of swords reversed. Can they steal it? The question is, we don't know yet. Can they steal the election? We don't know. But I just say the energy does felt very much more Republican than anything. So, Spiritual Angel Tommy, who is going to, as of right now, with the current energies at play, this is not a mere projection of who's going to win the midterm. But as of right now, if the midterm was held today, who's likely to win the United States House of Representatives when all the results are confirmed and finalized and them getting sworn in, that the House lean more conservative, more liberal. I'm hearing the word conservative. We have the 10 of Wands here. The 10 of Wands is reversed, which means the path of least resistance. We have here, again, the rejection of results. We have the Three of Pentacles. This is the ballot card. If you have been with me for a while, you will know that this is my ballot card. Things being tossed out. In this aspect here, something was rejected. And here you have is, newcomers. Like there's going to be people who are trying to get in, unable to get in. Something's being pushing them out. Someone's locking them out. This is reversed. This is the 10 of Pentacles. Means generational background, generational influence. We have an older person, a middle-aged person, a young kid. This is reversed. It's telling us here that there's going to be kind of like the same old. So younger people who are running for Congress right now are going to kind of struggle a little bit, even for the Senate. But it does seem like it leans a little bit more Republican because the implausibility and the impossibility of somebody not being sworn in, someone new not ever being sworn in the United States is practically zero. The fact that this is what the cards are seeing, that the chances of that occurring is pretty roughly around high. I'm getting around 89 to 73% chance that young people who are running for Congress right now, which also be considered young people in the formality of someone who had never been a congressman or congresswoman before, will be practically zero. That is almost unheard of, but that is what the guys are saying. Let's take a look at the Senate just to kind of get a better idea, and then we'll do a reading for you guys and we'll end the video. Okay, I'm hearing the word the American people wield the power in the Senate. For some reason, they don't wield the power in the House, but they wield the power in the Senate. So there is something here in the Senate that's going on, but the American people will wield the power in the Senate. So maybe possibly it might be more so the House, if anything, that would be in jeopardy rather than the Senate as of right now. That's pretty interesting, kind of weird, but yeah, that's what I'm getting. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look at your personal readings, and then we'll end today's video. Okay, so I made this a very long time ago. I don't really remember anything that's in any of these things. Ignore this. It's not Isha anymore, but I'm going to pick out three. You're going to try to close your eyes. You're going to try to breathe and try to resonate yourself with what best resonates with you. Just take what resonates, leave the rest behind. Essentially, that means is take what you feel is most likely to feel connected with you. Whatever gives you chills, whatever gives you shivers, whatever feels the most closest to you. Take that message, leave the rest behind, because this is a message for the collective. It's not personalized for you. I'm getting orange, so we are going to take the orange one. I'm getting here, we're going to take this blue one and this purple one. I'm getting told some of you guys like yellow, so we're going to put yellow here. Okay. I'm going to give you a moment. I'm going to mute myself just so you don't hear my dog. Okay, so if I haven't told you already, and I do apologize if I have not, you can actually pick more than one. Let's start with the orange. Let's see what your message is. Oh, you have 2 messages in here. So there's going to be, for a lot of you guys, I feel like a lot of you guys probably chose orange. It says here, the mystery is not about the destination. It's about the journey. Purpose comes after the destination. Your purpose is the point of the journey, not the motivation for it. Purpose can be a mystery your whole life. Sometimes it isn't revealed until you're gone. Like I said, you don't go looking for your purpose. Your purpose finds you, the way you found me. I think that's actually kind of beautiful. You could screenshot that if that is something that that you like. So this is right here. All right. So that is one of your messages. The other message is, this is a sign that you've been waiting for. I think a lot of you guys have chosen this for a reason, but typically, Sully. I think this is the message that you have been waiting for. I have a feeling you chose this one in particular. All right, so that is orange. Let's take a look at those of you guys who have chosen blue. Okay, yeah, 1 message, so it means only like 2 of you chose blue. All right, so let's see what your message is here. It says here, dream about your ideal life. Focus on it. Focus on it until you know exactly what it looks like. Okay, dream about your ideal life. Focus on it until you know exactly what it looks like. Then wake up and do one thing to make it a reality. So essentially, it's saying to imagine your life and then do something with that. Do something with that thought. Make it a reality. Put it out to the universe and then go try and achieve it. The universe will meet you halfway. You cannot do prayer. Prayer does not work. But you can do manifestation. The difference between a prayer and manifestation is essentially you go out there and you put it out to the universe, and then the universe will meet you halfway as long as you put in the work. The universe does not do the full thing. You have to meet the universe halfway. Okay, that is for the blue people. Let's see about the purple. Let's see. What's the next card? What's the next one? It says here, for those of you guys who've chosen, I feel like one person chose purple. It says here, don't wait for someone to give you advice. Tell yourself what you need to hear right now. I want you to ask yourself in the comment section, tell me, what do you need to hear right now? What do you need to hear? Ask it if you're giving me advice. What do you need to hear? That is the message that you need to hear. And if you're watching this after the live is over, comment in the comment section. What is it that you need to hear? For those of you guys who have chosen yellow, let's see what your message is. Ooh, a lot of you guys have also chosen yellow. I have a feeling some of you guys, a lot of you guys actually chose orange and yellow. The first message that comes in is, a relative is waiting for you. I'm getting some of you guys are getting married, or someone you just been to a wedding. But it says here, a relative is waiting for you. I'm getting a mere indication that someone may have died in your life in the past, and you have a feeling you went to a psychic and somebody told you that a relative has a message for you. That's really what I'm getting. The next card here, the next message as well is, You have here, you are worth more than your darkness. So for some of you guys who are feeling suicidal, I have a feeling that you guys been through depression, and that's particularly why it says here your relative is waiting for you. It could be multiple things as well. I'm also seeing as well. I'm getting like images of like someone may have tried to commit suicide at one point. If you have committed suicide and you need some help, you can always message me. I'm always there for you. But it does feel like you're worth more than your darkness. Don't let your darkness consume you. So that is the messages for today. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys had a great day. I hope you guys had a great 4th. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys all next time. This is our first live, especially back after years of not doing live. But thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys until next time. Until then, peace out. I love you.